Vietnam, this wonderful green country, a rural economy, become a global economy. Global commerce likes Vietnam. Increasingly the world's goods are made here. Vietnam's green beauty can permeate our whole economy. Vietnam is uniquely able to avoid fossil fuels and leap straight to a green, global powerhouse. The companies of the world need energy to make their goods. The energy choices made here today are made on behalf of the whole planet. To make goods in a coal-fired factory or in a clean factory. Let us tell you a story. Let us meet the actors in this world play. A story we're writing today, here in Vietnam.
Hello, I'm David Giraudet, director at Mekong Furniture, Maison du Monde. We want our furniture manufacturing to have less impact on the environment. So we work with Shirework to install 3 megawatt system on our rooftop in just 1 month.
Hello, I'm Edwin van der Sloot, MD of Skencom Vietnam, a large garden furniture manufacturer from Denmark and a member of the United Nations Global Compact. This is our 55,000 square meter facility in Long Bieng Industrial Park in the Mekong Delta. We plan to cover all of it with solar as part of our RE100 pledge to power our factory with sustainable energy sources. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Minh Ngô, French citizen, and I have a PhD from Paris-Saclay University in France on solar technology. I returned to my home country to design solar rooftop for RE100 company.
Hello, I'm Phong, CEO of Wufeng Energy Group. With over 12 years experience in renewable industry, I believe that together we can become 100% renewable and together we can protect our green environment.
Hello, my name's We, Head of Engineering. We work together to deliver good quality in design stage, construction stage, and in the operational stage.
はじめまして、私はテレデンソーベトナムの浜岡と言います。シェアオーク社とともに、RE100、参加企業の皆様に、これからも、日本の技術と日本の品質を持ってサポートさせていただきます。よろしくお願いいたします。
Goedemorgen iedereen, ik ben Virginie en ik kom uit België. Together with my 25 colleagues of the sales department, we're looking to bring you the best commercial offer possible.
Hello, my name is Yuta Tago. I am looking for renewable power investment opportunities for Daiwa Security Group's investment arm. I believe Vietnam has tremendous rooftop solar power potential, and I'm looking forward to see a chance to work with Shirework as a Japanese investor. Thank you very much.
All the wonderful people here. Yeah, so there's such talent in Vietnam. We've been so lucky in that I get a thrill, first of all, setting up a team anywhere in the world, but then setting up this team with the kind of youthful vigor and the kind of energy that this country has and the caliber of the people that we're employing. It's wonderful to work here.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Aurel. I'm in charge of asset management for our international clients. Last month we have produced the electric consumption of 100,000 Vietnamese while saving the equivalent of 20 hectares of forests.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Maxwell and I run Sustainable Development Capital, a manager of a London Stock Exchange listed investment company that invests in clean, efficient and decentralised energy solutions. We're delighted to be working with Shirework to deliver on-site solar and storage projects in Vietnam. Renewable energy and energy efficiency can help meet Vietnam's decarbonisation goals, as well as reducing the carbon footprint of companies manufacturing products in Vietnam.
In Vietnam, you have even better resources, solar power. You have a lot of wind power. This is the opportunity for Vietnam as you have a big demand for energy. So we are very keen to match up British expertise, especially at the moment when Vietnam is attracting a lot of investment into your industry and manufacturing. It's not just factories, it's schools, it's hospitals, can all benefit from rooftop solar.
Đối với SEV và Shirework thì nó làm giảm cái tiền điện mỗi một tháng của Boho là khoảng 15%. Thứ hai nữa có một cái lợi mà ít người nhắc tới, đó là nó làm giảm cái độ nhiệt ở trong cái khu xưởng của mình khoảng cỡ từ 5 tới 7 độ. Thì nó rất là ok.
Today I'm so excited to be here in a solar rooftop project that we built last year. Since the last 3 months of 2020, we built 29 solar rooftop projects just like this one. And from here you can see the system quality is so brilliant and beautiful. Thanks to the team support and contribution, we have a system with a very good design and good in construction management and well prepared in operation. This is the best job I have ever had in the world. Come here and enjoy what we have built so far.
Rooftop solar is state-of-the-art technology, but it's a quick solution, and this is not going to take Vietnam 10 years. It took the UK 10 years. It won't take Vietnam 10 years. It can take Vietnam 2 or 3 years to really accelerate.
The companies of the world hold the future of our planet in their hands. Here in Vietnam, the government has put the right policies in place. Together we, citizens of this planet, can effortlessly power past coal to deliver a clean, green future for our generation and all future generations to come.
Solutions to big problems require bold ambitions. Standard Chartered is committed to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Across our global footprint in Asia, Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas. Promoting sustainable finance, being a responsible company, building inclusive communities. This is what sustainability looks like at Standard Chartered. In 2020, sustainable deposits reached $1 billion US. Our community investment is $51.1 million and counting. And by 2030, we aim to achieve net zero emissions from our own operations and from our financing by 2050. Aspiring to become the world's most sustainable and responsible bank, Standard Chartered is here for good.
you see the world? The UK's unique melting pot of diverse minds always brings a fresh perspective. And when we combine our view together with yours, we can all see things differently. Do you see gravity? Or do you defy it?
And a flying leap from May.
Do you see a party or proud diversity? Do you see a place as old as time or a breakthrough that could save your life? We see power in the weather. We see how entertainment can change the world. It's wonderful. We see love and embrace it. We see a challenge and face it. We see the chance to go further together. To connect, collaborate, educate, celebrate, and make anything happen. So let's open our minds, invite the unexpected in, and answer the big questions together. Join us and see things differently.
So I'll introduce Oliver first to give some remarks, and then okay. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a very warm welcome to Clean Growth in Vietnam. If I could briefly disturb, please, your networking and invite you to take a seat if you wish, or perhaps gather on this side of the room, and we will shortly begin the spoken part of the event. So please grab a drink and some food and make your way over to the front, please. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to tonight's event. It's an absolute pleasure to see so many people here this evening, and to welcome you all to the Intercontinental for an exhibition and a celebration of UK-Vietnam partnerships in clean growth. Over the next 45 minutes or so, we would like to welcome your attention as we hear from a number of our partners and guests, and to explore various ways in which the UK and Vietnam are partnering on the clean growth agenda. To open this event, please can I first of all welcome to the stage Her Majesty's Consul General to Ho Chi Minh City and the UK Director for Trade in Vietnam, Mr. Oliver Todd, to offer some opening remarks.
Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and for those of you still mingling behind me, I'm going to talk to the front and we'll keep it simple. So ladies and gentlemen, as Sam said, a very warm welcome to the Clean Growth in Vietnam exhibition this evening. It's great to see fantastic attendance tonight, given the wider context of COVID-19, which has made things slightly difficult, I'm sure, for all of you in your businesses, so thank you for sparing the time this evening. And my thanks go to the British Chamber of Commerce and Sustainability Working Group, and to all of the corporate partners here this evening for making tonight's event a possibility. I'm also very pleased that we're joined this evening by distinguished guests from Vietnam's ministries in Hanoi, and I'd like to welcome Mr. Ngoc and Mr. Van Tam, and thank you for your time this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an extremely significant week, with Vietnam taking the final steps towards a full international reopening and welcoming short-term international visitors and tourists back to the country after nearly 2 years. So we at the British Consulate, of course, are conscious of the ever-growing excitement and interest from UK investors in the immense opportunities that Vietnam has to offer, and will be eager to welcome business visitors back to the country again in the weeks ahead. It's fitting then, in that context, that we tonight celebrate our ever-deepening UK-Vietnam partnership, and our mutual commitment to ensuring sustainable economic development. We, alongside the wider international community, of which I'm sure you'll hear plenty this year, were delighted by the ambition and resolve shown by Vietnam at November's COP26 summit. By committing to a 2050 net zero target, Vietnam joined an ever-growing international coalition committed to the meaningful multilateral action on cutting-edge technologies to fight climate change, with 90% of the global economy is now covered by specific net zero commitments. Vietnam also took major steps towards embracing its significant domestic potential in renewables, of much interest to many of the businesses here tonight, joining the multinational commitment to phase down coal as part of the clean energy transition, and committing to meaningfully increase the share of renewables in the overall energy mix. And finally, Vietnam has showed ambition elsewhere, committing to protect and preserve its natural environment and to adopt more sustainable and resilient means of food production in order to curb agricultural-related emissions. The UK government is delighted by Vietnam's ambition in this space, but of course we're acutely conscious of the challenges involved in enabling that green transition. Like Vietnam, we in the UK have committed to a net zero target, and I'm pleased that so many UK companies, including those represented here this evening, have committed visibly to decarbonisation strategies and net zero targets individually. We know just how much innovation and adaptation is required to fully enable clean growth across the economy. I'm confident that the UK can be, and is already, an immensely valuable partner to Vietnam as it looks to realise its COP26 ambitions. Tonight we celebrate the broad and extensive expertise of UK companies in Vietnam, already promoting and implementing clean growth in a range of sectors, and highlight the potential for further deepening of those ties. Renewable energy will be at the centre of Vietnam's efforts to transition away from coal power. We have extensive expertise in building a renewable sector in the UK, with the largest installed offshore wind capacity in Europe and the second largest globally, which I'm sure many of you will have heard that before tonight's speech. So I'm pleased that tonight we'll hear from developers Mainstream and Shire Oak about their vital contributions to Vietnam's energy transition goals. Large-scale renewables and clean infrastructure projects will depend on robust access to multilateral financing, including via private sector partners. COP26 helped mobilise significant flows of that capital, and this is already being driven by UK banks in Vietnam. I look forward to hearing again from HSBC and Standard Chartered on their ongoing support to projects in country. And finally, we know just how important decarbonisation of the built environment will be to enabling Vietnam's net zero ambitions, both through energy efficient technologies and the implementation of high building standards. So again, my thanks to BSI and to Kingspan for your involvement this evening as well. So to close, I think it's important to reiterate that we at the Department of International Trade and the broader UK government network here in Vietnam are wholly committed to continuing close cooperation in our capacity as COP26 President in the year ahead. I hope that through tonight's event and the speakers and the panels you're about to hear, that we can share our expertise to Vietnam on that transition as we look to the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will be quiet and leave you in peace. But my thanks to, again, to Mr. Quan, Van Tam for your time this evening, and also to all the exhibitors and panelists who will be speaking and who have given up their time this afternoon. And again, finally, to Sam and to the team at the Consulate who have worked really hard in delivering this event in what has been a slightly more challenging context than we might have hoped for. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, thank you, enjoy the evening, enjoy the panels, and I hope you find it informative. Thank you.
Many thanks, Oliver, for your remarks. And as Oliver says, we are delighted tonight to welcome a number of guests down from Hanoi. And I would like next to welcome to the stage, please, Mr. Vu Ngoc An, Director General at the Department for Science, Technology and Environment in the Ministry of Construction, to offer some opening remarks. Thank you very much, Mr. An, for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Simworth. Thank you, Minister Oliver Toss. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Happy for translate from Vietnamese to English. Kính thưa ngài Tổng lãnh sự Anh tại thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Olivier Todd. Kính thưa quý vị đại biểu tham dự sự kiện. Thay mặt Bộ Xây dựng, tôi xin trân trọng cảm ơn Đại sứ Liên hiệp Vương quốc Anh và Bắc Ireland đã mời Bộ Xây dựng tham gia sự kiện này. Đây là một trong những hoạt động quan trọng của Vương quốc Anh nhằm hỗ trợ Việt Nam triển khai các cam kết tại hội nghị các bên tham gia Công ước Khung của Liên Hợp Quốc về biến đổi khí hậu lần thứ 26 và cam kết phát thải ròng bằng không tới năm 2050 của Việt Nam.
His Excellency British Consul General Oliver Todd, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Construction, I would like to thank the British Embassy of the United Kingdom of the Great Britain and Northern Ireland for inviting the Ministry of Construction to participate in this event, one of the UK's activities to support Vietnam in implementing its commitments at COP26 Conference of Parties of the United Nations Framework Convention to Climate Change COP26 on Vietnam's commitment to net zero by 2050.
Tại sự kiện này, chúng ta có cơ hội để tìm hiểu, trao đổi thông tin về các giải pháp công nghệ của Vương quốc Anh nhằm giảm phát thải khí nhà kính, đạt mục tiêu phát thải ròng bằng không vào năm 2050, bao gồm các công nghệ trong lĩnh vực năng lượng tái tạo, sản xuất xanh, tài chính xanh, đầu tư bền vững, phát triển đô thị thông minh, đô thị sinh thái và đô thị phát thải carbon thấp.
At this event, we will have the opportunity to explore and exchange information on UK technology solutions in greenhouse gas emissions reduction, supporting the reaching the net zero by 2050. These solutions include technologies for the renewable energy, green production, green finance, sustainable investment, smart cities, green urban, and low carbon emissions.
Luật bảo vệ môi trường của Việt Nam đã được Quốc hội thông qua tháng 11 năm 2020, trong đó có một chương về biến đổi khí hậu, cho thấy Việt Nam luôn nỗ lực cùng cộng đồng quốc tế thực hiện các giải pháp nhằm giảm phát thải khí nhà kính và thích ứng để ứng phó với biến đổi khí hậu.
The law on environmental protection was passed by the National Assembly of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam in November 2020, including a chapter on climate change. This shows Vietnam's efforts to work together with the international community to deliver solutions to greenhouse gas emissions reduction and climate change adaptation.
Đầu năm 2020, Chính phủ đã ban hành nghị định về giảm phát thải khí nhà kính và bảo vệ tầng ozone và ban hành quyết định về danh mục lĩnh vực cơ sở phát thải khí nhà kính phải thực hiện kiểm kê khí nhà kính. Đồng thời, Bộ Tài nguyên Môi trường đã ban hành thông tư quy định chi tiết về thi hành luật bảo vệ môi trường để ứng phó với biến đổi khí hậu.
In early 2022, the government of Vietnam issued a decree on reducing greenhouse gas emissions and protecting the ozone layer, and a decision on the list of industries and facilities that have to carry out greenhouse gas inventory. At the same time, Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment also issued a circular providing detailed guidance on the implementation of the law on environmental protection and on responding to climate change.
Đồng thời, Việt Nam cũng đã ban hành chiến lược quốc gia về tăng trưởng xanh giai đoạn 2021-2030 và tầm nhìn đến 2050 và đang cập nhật hoàn thiện chiến lược và kế hoạch hành động ứng phó với biến đổi khí hậu và tăng trưởng xanh. Các bộ ngành của Việt Nam đã và đang xây dựng, triển khai, thực hiện kế hoạch hành động của ngành về tăng trưởng xanh, ứng phó biến đổi khí hậu nhằm thực hiện cam kết của Việt Nam tại COP26.
Vietnam has issued a national strategy on green growth for 2021 towards 2030 and with a vision to 2050. The country is updating the strategy and action plan to respond to climate change and the green growth strategy. Several ministries have been developing and implementing the action plans of their industries towards green growth and responding to climate change in order to fulfill Vietnam's commitments at COP26.
Đối với lĩnh vực của Bộ Xây dựng, Thì trong thời gian vừa qua thì Bộ Xây dựng đã trình Chính phủ ban hành các quyết định như là kế hoạch phát triển đô thị tăng trưởng xanh đến năm 2030, quyết định phê duyệt đề án phát triển đô thị thông minh bền vững Việt Nam giai đoạn 2018-2025 và định hướng đến năm 2030, và quyết định về triển khai các đô thị Việt Nam ứng phó với biến đổi khí hậu giai đoạn 2021-2030.
On those issues relating to the mandates of the Ministry of Construction, the government of Vietnam has issued a decision on Vietnam Green Growth Urban Development Plan towards 2030, a decision approving smart and sustainable urban development projects for 2018 towards 2025 and orientation to 2030, and a decision on the development of Vietnam's urban development in responding to climate change in 2021-2030.
Tính đến tháng 11 năm 2021 thì Việt Nam đã có 870 đô thị, trong đó có các đô thị đặc biệt, đô thị loại 1, loại 2 và đến loại 5. Và Việt Nam đã có một cái tỷ lệ đô thị hóa khoảng 40,5%. Với tốc độ phát triển đô thị và cái nền kinh tế của chúng ta phát triển nhanh thì Việt Nam cần sớm triển khai các cái hoạt động nhằm hướng tới phát triển đô thị phát triển bền vững và đô thị phát triển phát thải carbon thấp.
As of November 2021, Vietnam has 870 urban areas, and they are characterized as cities of level 1, 2, and 5. So the national urbanization rate is at 40.5%, and with rapid urban development and economic growth, Vietnam soon needs to implement activities towards sustainable and low carbon urban development.
Cho đến thời điểm này thì công tác quy hoạch xây dựng đô thị đã được xem xét, tính toán, lồng ghép các nội dung ứng phó biến đổi khí hậu. Cụ thể là trong các cái quy chuẩn của Việt Nam về quy hoạch xây dựng đô thị, quy chuẩn về hạ tầng kỹ thuật đô thị, các cái tiêu chuẩn liên quan đến công trình sử dụng năng lượng hiệu quả. Đấy cũng đã được ban hành, rà soát, cập nhật và phổ biến tới các địa phương trong cả nước. Một số đô thị đã nghiên cứu xây dựng kế hoạch phát triển đô thị theo hướng tăng trưởng xanh, đô thị thông minh như là Hà Nội, thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Đà Nẵng, Cần Thơ.
Up till now, urban construction planning has been considered to mainstream climate change response-related issues, including Vietnam's standards on urban planning and construction, infrastructure codes and standards relating to energy efficiency in construction works have been issued, reviewed, updated, and circulated to the wider country. Some urban areas have developed their urban development plans with green growth and smart cities elements, such as Hanoi, Da Nang, and Cần Thơ.
Còn ở lĩnh vực các cái công trình cụ thể như là các cái trụ sở, rồi nhà chung cư, công trình hỗn hợp, thì đến nay thì toàn quốc thì đã có Việt Nam đã phát triển trên 200 công trình xanh, được chứng nhận theo các tiêu chí quốc tế và cái tiêu chuẩn Lotus của Việt Nam. Số lượng những công trình xanh tuy còn khiêm tốn, nhưng chúng tôi tin rằng số lượng công trình xanh sẽ ngày càng phát triển trong thời gian tới.
So far, more than 200 office buildings, apartments, and compound structures have been certified as green structures according to international standards and according to the Lotus standard of Vietnam. The number of green works is still modest, but we believe that it will increase in the upcoming time.
Ở lĩnh vực sản xuất vật liệu xây dựng thì ngành xi măng đã triển khai một số các cái dự án thu hồi nhiệt thừa để phát điện và các cái giải pháp giảm cái clanke trong sản xuất, thay thế các nguyên liệu đầu vào để giảm cái phát thải khí nhà kính. Thì với các giải pháp trên thì ngành xây dựng phấn đấu giảm 74,3 triệu tấn CO2 tương đương vào năm 2030 và chắc chắn sẽ giảm hơn nữa để hướng tới cái phát thải ròng bằng không của Việt Nam vào năm 2050.
On construction material production, the cement industry has implemented a number of projects with heat recovery for power generation and other solutions on reducing clinker in production, replacing input materials, etc., to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. With similar solutions, jobs in construction industry will reduce carbon dioxide equivalent by 74.3 million tons by 2030, and will definitely reduce further in order to reach Vietnam's net zero by 2050.
Tuy nhiên, với cái mức tăng trưởng nhanh của ngành xây dựng, thì để phát triển các cái đô thị và công trình xây dựng phát thải carbon thấp, hướng tới phát thải ròng bằng không, thì chúng tôi cần cái nguồn lực tài chính lớn và nhân lực phù hợp. Đặc biệt cần có sự hỗ trợ của quốc tế về tài chính, hỗ trợ chuyển giao công nghệ và các cái giải pháp nhằm giảm phát thải khí nhà kính.
However, with the rapid growth of the construction industry, in order to develop low carbon cities and construction work towards the country's net zero commitments, Vietnam will need significant financial resources, appropriate human resources, and particularly international support in finance, technology transfer, and solutions to greenhouse gas emissions reduction.
Trước bây giờ tôi cũng tham quan các cái gian hàng đây thì chúng tôi thấy rằng có nhiều công ty, các công ty của Anh thì cũng có cái tiềm năng để hợp tác với chúng tôi để tham gia vào cái chuyển giao công nghệ cũng như là lĩnh vực tài chính để giúp Việt Nam để thực hiện cái cam kết của tại COP26.
I've been browsing through the stalls in the exhibition here, and I must say that I see high potentials of the British business in supporting us with financial services and technology transfer to support our delivery of the Vietnam's net zero commitment by 2050.
Bộ Xây dựng Việt Nam đánh giá cao sự hợp tác của chính phủ Vương quốc Anh đã hỗ trợ Việt Nam thực hiện mục tiêu giảm phát thải khí nhà kính cũng như thích ứng với biến đổi khí hậu, đặc biệt là trong lĩnh vực về năng lượng và phát triển đô thị.
The Ministry of Construction of Vietnam highly appreciates the cooperation of the UK government for its supporting Vietnam in implementing our greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets, as well as climate adaptation, particularly in energy and urban development.
Chúng tôi mong muốn trong thời gian tới, Bộ Xây dựng cũng như là Bộ Công Thương và các địa phương, các doanh nghiệp và các bộ ngành khác sẽ có cơ hội hợp tác sâu hơn, cụ thể hơn với chính phủ Anh về xây dựng chính sách, tăng cường năng lực và thực hiện các cái hoạt động thí điểm, phát triển đô thị, phát triển công trình xanh, sản xuất và giảm phát thải khí nhà kính.
We hope that in the coming time, the Ministry of Construction and Ministry of Industry and Trade, the provinces, the business, as well as other ministries, will have the opportunity to work more closely and more intensively with the UK government on policy development, capacity building, and pilot activities on urban development, green building, and greenhouse gas emissions reductions in manufacturing.
Qua đây, tôi cũng mong muốn các doanh nghiệp Anh tiếp tục là những doanh nghiệp tiêu biểu, không ngừng hỗ trợ và thúc đẩy các cái công nghệ và dịch vụ ưu việt hướng tới phát triển bền vững, trung hòa carbon trên toàn cầu nói chung và tại Việt Nam nói riêng. Tôi xin trân trọng cảm ơn và chúc cho sự kiện ngày hôm nay thành công và đạt nhiều kết quả tốt đẹp.
On this occasion, I also hope that UK businesses will continue to be those typical ones and will constantly support us and promote the most advanced technologies and services towards sustainable development and net zero globally in general and in Vietnam in particular. Thank you, and I wish
Thank you for your attention.
Thank
you,
Mr. Oliver Todd.
Mr. Sam, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Oliver Todd. Thank you, Sam.
Many thanks, Mr. An, for those remarks and for making the trip down from Hanoi this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we were thrilled in the run-up to COP26 to see growing momentum from the British community, both UK and Vietnamese, around the global Race to Zero, a coalition of non-state actors committed to specific net zero targets. We would like now to play a short video celebrating some of those new signatories.
I think the Race to Zero is like having a new kind of club, really, where we all belong because we're trying to make positive change. So delivering zero carbon infrastructure is what it means to us in being in the Race to Zero. And then along the way, we're working on reforestation and biodiversity protection here in Vietnam.
With over 4% of global greenhouse gas emissions from the healthcare sector, we are aiming to lead by example towards the goal of decarbonization. AstraZeneca announced our Ambition Zero Carbon program in January last year, where we committed to have zero carbon emissions from our operation sites across the world by 2025 and ensure that the entire value chain is carbon negative by 2030. We are glad to see that this aligns well with UNFCCC's Race to Zero campaign and immediately signed up to join other like-minded companies.
It is an honor for Business School to participate in the Race to Zero campaign, becoming the first school in Hanoi and the second school in Vietnam to accompany other educational institutes globally to reduce carbon emission. We think it is very important to affirm the vision of building a green, clean, and certified school by the Scientific Institute. It is a great opportunity for students and our future leaders to have a more accurate and profound awareness of the effect of the climate change.
At InPath, we're not only working, we are changing the world for a better place.
In past years, InPath has put more than 60 megawatt peak rooftop solar into operation, reducing thousands of tons from the CO2 footprint, saving hundreds of millions in US dollars for our customers, and contributing to protecting the environment.
Our strengths in green technology and digital innovation give us the knowledge and experience to help cities, governments, and companies cut carbon and accelerate the fight against climate change. Indeed, we are deeply committed to our role as a climate change innovator and to the global decarbonisation effort.
Trong thời gian tới, chúng tôi sẽ tiếp tục hợp tác với Việt Nam để giúp thu hút các nguồn tài chính cho phát triển và tài chính tự nhiên cần thiết.
And with so many people on the planet, we can do a lot of change if we all get together and race to zero.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're very pleased to deliver tonight's event in partnership with the British Chamber of Commerce Vietnam, and in particular with the Sustainability Working Group, which brings together BritCham members with a common interest in promoting sustainability and clean growth solutions. I would like now to invite to the stage Mr. Denzel Eads, Managing Director for Pioneer International Consulting and also Chair of the BritCham Sustainability Working Group, to share some thoughts on the ambitions of the group. Thank you, Denzel.
Thank you, Sam. Sustainability is an integral part of public policy and corporate strategy. And whether it's responding to regulatory change or the demands of customers, corporates across sectors are addressing sustainability as a strategic priority going forward. In Vietnam, climate change presents a real and immediate challenge. And at COP26, Prime Minister Chin committed Vietnam to net zero by 2050. The net zero commitment by 2050 is accompanied by Politburo Resolution 55, which establishes a renewable energy target of 25 to 30% renewable energy by 2030. More recently, following the Environment Law, Decree 6 establishes a basis for carbon emissions reduction and the establishment of a carbon market in Vietnam. BritCham recognises the importance of sustainability to its members and the importance of sustainability to the Vietnamese economy. As a consequence, we last year established the Sustainability Working Group, and I'm just going to spend a few moments now explaining the purpose of the group, who we are, and what we're doing over the course of this year. So, of BritCham members, the Sustainability Working Group comprises of in excess of 30 members, a mix of multinational companies, SMEs and individuals who bring together expertise with respect to the sector, but also international sustainability strategies and programs that they're able to share with their members. Examples of Unilever, AstraZeneca, Shell, all able to share their experience within the context of the Sustainability Working Group. Within this context, I'd like to invite all those who are attending today to participate and join the group. You're very welcome to participate in the activities we're involved in over the course of the next year, and if there are members of the BritCham team here who you'd like to speak to, please let me know and I'd be pleased to introduce you. So really, what is the purpose of the group? Well, it's really fourfold. We're here to collaborate amongst our members, to share knowledge and ideas with respect to the promotion of sustainability in Vietnam, to promote engagement with public and private sector stakeholders, to facilitate advocacy on issues of policy as it relates to sustainability, and to provide representation of our members to partner forums. For example, the Vietnam Business Forum, which has a number of working groups related to sustainability, including the Environment Working Group and the Power and Energy Working Group. So we feed into the Vietnam Business Forum through the Sustainability Working Group. We thought it would be a good idea to canvass our members on the issues that they'd like to focus on in 2022. In response to those, the poll which we conducted, we've got around about 6 different issues. We're going to focus on energy transition, green finance, and the means by which you can unlock finance to deliver clean energy projects and investments in Vietnam, sustainability with respect to construction and development, a key issue has been touched on this evening, sustainability in agriculture, building corporate relationships between our members and both Vietnamese corporates and the government, and looking at the role in which technology can play in delivering sustainable solutions in Vietnam. So those will be our core areas of focus over the course of 2022. And this will be executed in conjunction with our partners. We're very pleased to be able to work with the British Embassy, the Department of International Trade, not just on this event, but in other events, working with them in terms of delivering the post-COP26 agenda and delivering targets and ambitions for climate change. We also work closely, as I mentioned, with the Vietnam Business Forum through their working groups, which are associated to issues of sustainability. There we kind of engage with the VBF on issues of policy. So where there is maybe draft policy or policy change which is going to impact our members, we'll comment on that and engage with them. And importantly, Standard Chartered. Standard Chartered has been a partner with us since the beginning of the establishment of the Sustainability Working Group, and we are holding a series of webinars on different issues as they relate to sustainability. One has been on carbon markets following the draft of Decree 6 and which has now been passed into law, and our next will be on catalysing the finance to unlock green energy investment in Vietnam. And we're very grateful to have the cooperation and collaboration of Standard Chartered in that series. So what are we going to be doing in 2022? Well, the third of the sustainability webinar series will be held at the end of this month. There we will have representatives from Standard Chartered Bank, from UK EF, discussing the challenges that are currently in existence with respect to the financing and investment framework in Vietnam and the solutions which can be delivered to unlock that finance. We'll have a session in April on financial reporting and climate-related disclosures. We'll also then in May be looking at battery energy storage and electric vehicles. And in October we'll be linking with COP27 in Egypt through having a live event, which is actually following from our live event at the last COP26, which was hosted by Standard Chartered. So that was really just a brief introduction to explain the Sustainability Working Group, what we've been doing, to thank those who we've been collaborating with, and to invite you all to participate in the group going forward. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Denzel, for your comments and for sharing a little bit more about the ambitions of the SWG. I would like now, please, to invite our representatives from Vietnam's ministries and from UK companies to join me on the stage, please. And we will participate in a discussion about UK-Vietnam collaboration across clean growth in a little bit more detail. So could I invite our speakers up to the stage, please? So it's my honour to welcome onto the stage Mr. Hoang Van Tam, the Deputy Head of Climate Change and Green Growth Office at the Ministry of Industry and Trade. Mr. Tam, would you like to come and take your place over here? Mr. Bernard Casey, the Chief Operating Officer for APAC at Mainstream Renewable Power. Mike Edge, the Chief Investment Officer at Shire Oak International. Stephanie Betont, the Head of Wholesale Banking and Managing Director at HSBC. And Mr. Duong Min Chau, Director for Global Subsidiaries Vietnam at Standard Chartered Bank. Many thanks to you all for participating in tonight's event. So I would like, please, Mr. Tam, to turn to you first of all. Obviously, we were all thrilled to hear the ambitious commitments from Prime Minister Chin made at the COP26 summit in November. Could you share with us, please, some of the work that MOIT is doing to realise those commitments?
Good evening, everyone, and so thank you very much for the embassy, British Embassy in Hanoi, invited me to be here. And I think that today is a very interesting event for us, for me and personally, to join the meeting with the discussion about the very hot topic about the rest to the net zero emission that our Prime Minister committed at the COP26. And I think that not only in Vietnam, but any other country committed at COP26 after the COP, and we have a lot of work to do so far. And I think that you can see the big change from the pathway to the low carbon emission development in economy in Vietnam, with the focusing on the energy development plan, with the you can see in the newspaper and the media focusing on the PDP 8, and we are revising and updating to operate it to the COP26 commitment. Very big challenges for us, and to how to see the feasibility work and to change to our plan to get a net zero independence on our PDP in the coming time, when approved by the government, Prime Minister, in the coming times. But not only the PDP, but also we are now revising and reviewing the many strategic development plans in economic in terms of industry and trade in Vietnam. Because we can see that in any economic, you have to contribute to the great contribution to the net zero emission. Very important for us now. We change many things to do, besides with our reviewing the strategic development plans in the next 10 years or the over and the more vision. we are now working with the different ministry to elaborate and the very specific of the environment protection law that are approved by the National Assembly in 2020 and now enforcement by in the first days of the first month of this year. And we are developing the regulation on how to quantify the GHG emission from the emitters, such mentioned by Mr. Ngọc Anh about the Prime Minister decision about the list of the emitters, big emitters in the country. And now, maybe in the coming time, this list is larger than we are now. But it means that all the emission from the economic and the enterprises had to quantify it and have to controlled by the MRV system under circular of the Ministry of Industry and Trade and Climate Change, that's including the Ministry of Construction. We will develop and issue by the end of this year. And hopefully in the coming time we are going toward to the how to enhance and how to develop the domestic carbon in Vietnam. That's very important, and it's a policy development in Vietnam. And today I just visit around the floor and to see the many enterprises that in terms of different aspects of the cooperation with the contribute the low carbon development in Vietnam, that including from the renewable energy, from the enhancing energy efficiency from the different materials, very nice around the floor, and that's the biggest important is financing sources from the HSBC. One of the banking is a very great contribution to a commitment to combat the climate change in different countries, that including in Vietnam. But I hope that in the future we have to see the very realistic and very specific support from the different countries, that including the UK, to contribute to Vietnam and to help combat the climate change and how to go together with the net zero emission target in the 2050. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you around about the network event later on. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tam, huge thanks for making the journey and for sharing your thoughts, and we will come on to financing, but I'll turn next, if I may, to you, Bernard. You're the Chief Operating Officer in APAC for Mainstream. We've heard about the significance of PDP8, and obviously we know that renewables and offshore wind in particular will need to play a central role in the clean energy transition. It would be good to hear from you about how you see that process and the role of Mainstream in enabling Vietnam's net zero targets.
Sure, Sam. Thanks for that question. I guess Mainstream, we've been here in Vietnam for 4 years now, and we are in the process of developing a large offshore wind farm off the coast of Soc Trang province. I guess our first involvement in offshore wind was in the UK more than 12 years ago, when we developed what is now the largest wind farm in the world. That's the Hornsey Zone. And at the time in the UK, there was a lot of skepticism that offshore wind was novel. That the only players in the sea were really the oil and gas majors, and that you really couldn't do anything at scale. And I think we're now here in Vietnam, and we can see that the first fledgling steps of offshore wind is happening in Vietnam. We've had some nearshore projects that have been built. But the big ambition for offshore wind in Vietnam cannot be reached without international project finance. And so we're hoping that our project in Soc Trang, it's the first project that the IFC World Bank have given its blessing to. So they've looked at many projects, and they've turned them down for various reasons. So we're hoping that we can be the pioneering project for international project finance for our first 200 megawatt phase. And So we see huge potential, we see many challenges, but it's fantastic that MOIT have now recognised the benefit of offshore wind in the latest revision of PDP8. So it gives a great boost to developers like Mainstream to see that clear ambition from the Vietnamese government.
Many, many thanks, Bernard, for those insights. Mike, if I may turn perhaps next to you. Obviously, solar is an area where we have seen the real benefits of Vietnam's ambition. We've seen the sector grow substantially over the last few years to become one of the biggest regionally. How is Shire Oak seeking to progress this agenda in the years ahead and to further support Vietnam's net zero ambitions?
Yeah, thank you, Sam, and thanks for arranging this event as well. And Shire Oak is a UK-founded renewable energy developer, and we've come from a history of developing large-scale solar projects in the UK, several hundred megawatts there. And in 2018, we looked towards Asia to see where that expertise and the financing links and knowledge that we'd gained could be deployed in order to maximize the decarbonisation of the global economy. And Vietnam was an obvious place to start that journey. Now in Vietnam we have around 30 projects, rooftop solar projects that we own and operate. We're currently in the process of deploying a further $100 million of equity funding to bring forward another 200 megawatts of rooftop projects. Rooftop solar in Vietnam is quite an obvious choice, or it certainly was. Things have become slightly more complex in recent months. Our systems provide low cost, low carbon, renewable electricity to factories at the point of use. Not only do they help the manufacturing sector here to reduce its costs, increase its margins, but we also bestow green credentials on those manufacturers. And those kind of things used to be a nice to have kind of thing or a supplement, but they are becoming increasingly important, particularly if those manufacturers are to be a part of the global big brand community. I mean, they are essential attributes to have, and that really forms a large part of our business plan and the products that we offer. I think going forward, we've seen the renewable sector in Vietnam accelerate at a pace that, you know, those of us who have worked in the UK sector has been fairly surprising in how quickly things have moved forward. We've had feedback from international lenders about the bankability of PPAs, and we've seen several gigawatts of capacity delivered in a matter of months on the back of those PPAs. So I think things are happening here faster. Developers, financiers, investors need to keep up with that pace. But let's be clear, the solution is not through one technology or one product. It's through a myriad of technologies that complement each other. Offshore wind, nearshore wind, large-scale solar, rooftop solar, energy efficiency, energy storage, demand response, ancillary services. These are all part of the solution, and we have the benefit from other electricity markets, such as the UK, to take some of those lessons, to take some of that knowledge, that understanding, and to transplant it in here and really accelerate or support the acceleration of the decarbonisation of Vietnam.
Great. Many thanks, Mike, and totally appreciate your point about the need for a cross-sector approach. Perhaps I'll turn, Stephanie, to you next, in fact, Head of Wholesale Banking and Managing Director at HSBC. And we've heard quite a lot said already about the need for international financing in order to enable Vietnam's COP26 ambitions. And obviously HSBC have committed a substantial amount of capital already to sustainable projects here. So it'd be good to hear a little bit more about those and about HSBC's ambitions in this space.
Sure, thank you very much, Sam, and thank you for the invitation. So I think the energy crisis, has accelerated pace with the tragic events in Ukraine. And in the short term, the financial sector has to help our clients navigate the challenges of the short term. But there's also the imperative of the race to net zero. And so as an institution, HSBC is focused on a few things. Becoming a net zero bank ourselves, so looking at our own carbon emissions, and we're a large international business, and it starts with every single one of us. Secondly, accompanying customers, and I'll talk about what we're doing in Vietnam. And then also, we heard from the ambition of Vietnam to develop carbon markets, and really trying and bringing innovative solutions in that space in the financial sector, because the financial sector has a critical role to play in this decarbonization of the environment. So in Vietnam, as we've heard from a lot of your panelists today and some of the speakers, our research finds that 1 meter of sea level raising by 1 meter will impact 10% of the population. That's more than any country in Asia, and we're sitting right in the center of it. So it's an urgency for all of us. So with the team following the meeting with Prime Minister Chin and our global CEO Noel Quinn, in Vietnam we made the commitment to support up to $12 billion of financing in raising up to $12 billion of financing to Vietnamese corporates, to Vietnam, to this sector. And that's an ambitious figure, but we feel that you've got to be ambitious. You've got to set yourself big objectives, and so we hit the ground running. So how do we do that? The first is you've got to bring awareness to your customer base. You've got an amazing opportunity with your customers, whether it's a feed manufacturer in the Mekong or a large renewables company, to bring awareness about the climate risk, the transition risk, and your carbon impact. Secondly, it's finding sort of operational metrics around that. So how are you actually going to measure that transition? The efforts you're doing, etc. And lastly, you have to have a business case for it, because obviously, a lot of the carbon emission comes from supply chain. So finding sustainable supply chain solutions and helping customers find a business case for it is really important. And we're seeing that there's a lot of market liquidity in financing moving towards green finance and sustainable loans. And we've done a number of transactions in this market. So last week we closed the first, sorry, in finance these terms are so long, but sustainable offshore syndication loan for Vietnam, $500 million for Vingroup. We've done green financing for buildings. I think we were referencing earlier smart cities and the importance of supporting that. We've also financed renewables, wind power, wind, solar, hydro, and really, but it takes a lot of education in ourselves as well, myself as well, and we all have to understand what it means and understand how to get there. So we've got a great booth, just a little plug. We've got some very talented colleagues over there, and if you want to learn more about what we've done, happy to share it. Thanks, Sam.
Huge thanks, Stephanie, and it's been brilliant to see a real string of positive announcements coming out of COP26 in terms of HSBC's projects here, so thank you for sharing some further detail. So last but not least, Mr. Duong Min Chow, I'll turn over to you, Head of Global Subsidiaries at Standard Chartered. We heard earlier from Denzel about the fantastic work that Standard Chartered have played, including your sponsorship of the Sustainability Working Group and your visibility at COP as well. Could we hear a little bit more from you about your clean growth agenda here in Vietnam, please?
Yeah, sure, Sam. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I think it's been a great pleasure for Standard Chartered and myself to be here with all of the panelists, to show our commitment as well as the capability of Standard Chartered for commitment, after COP26, that we've been doing quite a lot of work, to, inconsistent with the government, message to net zero after COP26. Well, if you look closer at SCB, SCB actually stands for Sustainability and Clean Tech Bank. Yeah. So jokes aside, but from the management of the bank, from Bill Winter, our group CEO, to Ms. Shawi. Sadly, she's cannot be here today. She's F0. But the key success for Stan George, I think, in terms of developing the sustainability and clean tech financing scheme, is that we have a policy and direction from the leadership, and the sample behavior from the leadership within the bank, the consistent in message delivering towards all of the bank staff. Whenever we come to meet up with the client, similar to what Stephanie shared here, we ask, what is the ecosystem around it, and what is the flyer change behind that? What brings good, what back to the community, and if you do it with the motivation of profit, it's gonna fail. I'm sure it's gonna fail. You have to think of a way to develop the project and help finance them in a way it brings back good benefit to the community. To share a bit more on, after COP26, which we have the honor to co-host the Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, in Glasgow, UK. The bank has signed the MOU of up to $8 billion for sustainable lending and clean tech financing in Vietnam. And to be more specific, for the last 3 years, we've been financing, for BIM Land Joint Stock Company, 200 million also syndication loan for, a green bond, the first ever green bond issues offshore. In Singapore, and we also, close 2 projects, also wind power, up to $580 million for LC confirmation for wind project. And as from the group, policy, we've been committed in 3 key milestones. By 2024. Standard Chartered Group will commit to finance up to $40 billion for sustainable lending, and additional $35 billion for clean tech financing. And we're gonna add more interim target for other business sector within this time. And by 2030. Standard Chartered Bank Group, commits to only provide financial services to those clients which have the total revenue of less than 5%, relating to the thermal coal energy. Yeah, and then by 2050, which is consistent with the COP26 program, we're gonna align fully on net zero as for the Paris Agreement. So I think in a nutshell, we commit in the bank not only from the leadership, not only from the message, down to every employee, but from the key message that the attitude, the behavior when you face client, you have to have the mindset of sustainability to build in there. I think that's the key route for success. Thank you.
Many thanks, Mr. Chow, and thanks indeed to all our panelists. I wish we had a little bit more time to discuss the topic in further detail, but as Stephanie says, please do take the time after this to visit the stalls and find out a little bit more about the company's commitments here in Vietnam. But thank you for your time. If I could kindly invite you all now to leave the stage. Thank you. So many thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention this evening. It is my pleasure now to invite Mr. David McNaught, the Political and Climate Councillor from the British Embassy in Hanoi, to offer some closing thoughts, please. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Sam. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to bring this evening's event to a close. Thank you to all our fantastic exhibitors and panelists for your participation this evening. Many thanks to Mr. Vu Ngoc Ang and Mr. Hoang Vang Tam for joining us tonight from Hanoi. It's been a pleasure to lead our climate team at the British Embassy in Hanoi over the last few years and to work closely with Vietnam on its net zero ambitions. I'm pleased that we're able to celebrate tonight the vision and ambition shown by Prime Minister Ching at November's Climate Summit in Glasgow. My team in Hanoi, along with Oliver and the trade team here in Ho Chi Minh City, stand ready to continue our collaboration with you. We now know just how critical multilateral action on climate change really is in order to curb global temperature rises and to avoid the adverse impacts of climate change on livelihoods and communities. The UN Secretary General last year declared a code red for humanity should current trends towards global temperature rises be allowed to continue unchecked. And Vietnam is particularly vulnerable to the potential consequences. In 2020, we saw the tragic potential human costs of extreme weather here in Vietnam, with much of the central region suffering the impacts of heavy rainfall and extreme flooding. We know that the communities of the Mekong are at significant risk from adverse weather and increased drought, not only putting communities at risk, but also potentially jeopardizing Vietnam's food security. We now have irrefutable evidence that rising temperatures will increase the severity and the frequency of extreme weather, particularly in this part of the world. So we are delighted to see Vietnam embrace the net zero and clean growth agendas, not only recognizing the risks of failing to do so, but also actively embracing the economic and trade benefits that clean growth and sustainable development can bring. We've heard tonight about a range of private sector activity across clean growth sectors here in Vietnam, and the ambitious corporate commitments already being made to ensure that investments here are sustainable. As more international companies and investors commit to global decarbonation goals, and more consumers commit to ensuring their behaviour and consumption is sustainable, Vietnam has the opportunity to reposition itself as a hub for clean and green investment, and to embrace its significant potential in the generation of clean energy. And on behalf of the UK government, I want to reaffirm our support for these ambitions. We have been pleased that since COP26, we continue our climate dialogue at a government level, including via the Energy Transition Council. We were pleased to welcome Alok Sharma, COP President to Vietnam for the second time last month. And my thanks to Vietnam's ministries for your engagement during the COP President's visit. We look forward to welcoming more UK ministers and officials to Vietnam in the coming months, and to continue to offer our support to Vietnam's ministries in the realisation of your COP26 targets. But the role and voice of business will be vital. It is through private sector innovation and investment that the clean transition will be most effectively enabled here in Vietnam. It's been fantastic tonight to hear the breadth and variety of the UK private sector activity already taking place across clean growth sectors here in Vietnam. I strongly believe that the UK clean growth solutions can play a vital role in enabling Vietnam's COP26 ambitions. And I hope to see more UK firms leading the way here, offering expertise and insight across a range of sectors, from sustainable financing to clean energy transition to sustainable agriculture practices. I encourage you, all of you here tonight, to continue building your partnerships and continue to champion the clean growth agenda. It's been heartening to see growing momentum around this topic, and we in the UK government are very proud of the role that UK business is playing in enabling Vietnam's ambitions. I look forward to continuing our cooperation in the run-up to COP27. Many thanks again to all our participants and to you all for your attention. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Xin cảm ơn.
Huge thanks, David. So ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to a close of the formal proceedings. We move now to networking. So please do take advantage of the refreshments on offer and take the time to browse some of our company stalls here. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you have an enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Sustainable development is central to everything we do. We have pledged to incorporate whole life cycle carbon assessments for all our buildings projects to tackle operational and embodied emissions. This is an important step that brings a transformative impact to our client work while unlocking decarbonization of the buildings sector at scale.
Our buildings in Hong Kong typically contribute to 60% of the city's carbon emissions. And for our well-being, we have a lot of opportunities to bring nature back into our open spaces. These two aspects become our main focus to create a design that is both human-centric and net zero carbon. I believe that all buildings in the future should have a green manifesto that integrates together advanced technology, urban greening, human comfort, flexibility, and social well-being. Our green ribbon design is a demonstration of this innovative approach to our future workplace. This multi-dimensional green ribbon connects and interweaves both nature and technology to create a super high performance building with ultra low energy consumption and embodied carbon while enhancing local biodiversity. With more than 40 innovative features, our unique net zero design brings a new eco lifestyle to the neighborhood. People can jog or hike along the 1.5-kilometer long landscape Skytrack. While people are jogging or hiking, each step generates energy for the building by special kinetic movement pads. This innovative approach extends to our facade design. We bring breathable, productive, and active facade that filter the air, temper the microclimate, capture solar energy and daylight. They also channel wind breezes, produce seasonal food, and promote user well-being.
During the time of pandemics, it reminds me the importance of indoor air ventilation. We decided a highly natural ventilated building with AI technology. It predicts the direction of the airflow and advises on the optimal window opening to enjoy the natural wind breeze. This could also maximize the effects to ensure a healthy and invigorating working environment. Taking up a notch, we introduced the 230-meter tall micro-algae wall, create biodiesels, and to generate electricity for the building and compost for the landscape.
Each innovative feature is supported by precise calculations and computational simulation. Some of them are even ready to be applied to any existing buildings.
Like the jogging track to generate energy, we can implement in common walkway like corridor.
Every little steps, every breath, and every drop of used water are crucial. We introduce a tri-digestion systems to generate energy from food waste and black water locally. In addition, our cutting-edge air size systems designed with an IQ scrubbers can enhance air qualities by removing CO2 in the return air and reduce the air side energy consumption by half.
Everyone can enjoy and share the benefits of this green ribbon design. It is a community enabler that connects people together. Our nature-based approach creates a network of beautiful gardens, both inside and outside of the building. The rooftop infinite theater is a unique public venue and a showcase of our advanced energy system. It can be a joyful common space and a meaningful educational venue for our next generation to learn about net zero carbon.
On the road to net zero, ERA will continue to develop innovative, effective, and practical solutions for our clients to achieve decarbonization. From new and existing individual properties to an entire building portfolio, and from infrastructure projects to city planning, we are committed to steering the industry toward a more sustainable and resilient future.
The world is changing at an unprecedented rate. The global climate emergency is driving a revolution in how we live and work, and our relationship to the built and natural environment. Buildings make up 40% of global emissions, with 28% coming from existing stock. Whilst we must ensure that buildings constructed today are net zero, to deliver a net zero future by 2050, we must also prioritise decarbonising our existing buildings. To help you achieve your business goals and de-risk your net zero transition, we'll work with you to make carbon visible, maximising both the value from your assets and the carbon reduction of your whole life investment. Through engineering and delivery excellence, we will work with you across your entire estate, regardless of condition or global distribution, to generate robust and intuitive portfolio and asset-level views of your decarbonisation journey and the cost to get there. By building on and integrating our industry-leading services, you benefit from an integrated, agile, data-driven journey to decarbonisation. We call this Decarbonomics, all powered by our carbon data insights. How does it work? Decarbonomics improves the capture, structuring and management of your portfolio data, benchmarks your current performance, as well as providing proxy portfolio data to address any material data gaps, using our industry-leading carbon data insights benchmarking database. We'll then analyse carbon, cost and engineering solutions to create enterprise-level digital twins and use scenario testing augmented by artificial intelligence and machine learning to create bespoke roadmaps for cost-effective and pragmatic implementation. Our industry-leading management teams ensure quantifiable decarbonisation interventions are delivered throughout the life cycle of your assets. The cost, carbon and asset data is processed for optimal decision-making, working in a feedback loop to provide clarity on the most cost-effective route to decarbonisation while mitigating the risk of costly performance gaps. Your journey to engineering net zero has begun, and we are your partner to get you there.
The famous King's Road, an iconic streetscape built on generations of memories, home to kings, artists, punk rockers and mod queens. This 2-mile stretch has been evolving throughout its history. Fast forward to the present, and the King's Road is an eclectic mix of trendy boutiques, unique labels, designer shops and high street staples. Our site offers the chance to create much needed public realm and reintroduce green spaces back into this part of the King's Road. Inspired by its botanical past, we have the opportunity to reimagine the King's Road once more. We start by taking a tightly constrained footprint with an outdated retail model, and our concept is a brand new, sustainable development with vibrant public spaces and a dynamic mix of uses ready for the future. Our vision is based upon 5 fundamental principles. Introduce a vertical courtyard, enhance the environment, terrace the roofscapes, provide a streetscape that works in harmony with its neighbourhood, and create a local landmark. The site will be formed from a curated blend of typologies, offering the chance to shop, work and play. Nestled into the existing environment, our design reduces traffic and reinvents the site into a pedestrian-friendly space of discovery. Creating a sustainable scheme for a more environmentally responsible future, reducing parking on site from over 100 bays to 2, a hybrid structural frame of recycled steel and timber, green roofs encouraging biodiversity, renewable energy from photovoltaic panels, and targeting BREEAM Excellent and aspiring to BREEAM Outstanding. First, we create a vertical courtyard, a modern interpretation of the site's botanical legacy, an adaptable environment for seasonal events across multiple levels. And by pushing back the facade from the King's Road, we provide breathing space for the public realm, whilst creating an enhanced, shared streetscape. Sculpting a terraced roofscape that introduces biodiversity and green views, allowing the development to respect its neighbours and surrounding residents. Drawing inspiration from its surroundings, the grain, rhythm and materiality will be a fusion between architecture of its context and the site's botanical history, marrying traditional craftsmanship and detail to form a new destination for the King's Road. Finally, we create a signature landmark that punctuates the building's rhythm. A glass menagerie inspired by Wardian cases, this suspended garden box will showcase botanical curiosities and become a beacon for the King's Road. Our vision breathes new life into the area, bringing forward a mixed-use, sustainable scheme that secures the building's future as a welcoming and engaging space for the community to enjoy. We are excited to share our ideas with you and take you along our journey.
The Council of ISO agreed in June that ISO should make a commitment at the General Assembly 2021 to ensure that our international standards and publications contribute and indeed accelerate the attainment of the goals of the Paris Agreement, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and the UN Call for Action on Adaptation and Resilience. We've called this commitment the London Declaration, and it promises that we will actively consider climate science in the development of all new and revised international standards and publications, and that ISO will facilitate the involvement of civil society and those most vulnerable to climate change in the development of its work. I hope that other standards organisations will follow ISO's lead and sign up to the declaration to make their own promise to ensure that standards will help to build a more sustainable world. Standards have a critical role to play in supporting and enabling the global climate commitment. The London Declaration will help us to find a consensus of what good looks like with our global industry, government, academic and societal stakeholders. Climate action and sustainability is our top strategic priority. BSI proposed the initial concept of the London Declaration, and it's fully committed to seeing it implemented across the 40,000 standards in our national portfolio. We're very pleased that the ISO members also recognise the importance of this work for the world, and we welcome other partners to join us as well in delivering our Declaration Action Plan.
BSI is taking action on climate change, both in how we run our business and how we help our clients. We've made a commitment to the Race to Zero, committing to net zero by 2030 and working to demonstrate how standards can help companies meet their goals. Now, international standards are the cheapest form of consultancy. They encapsulate best practice as agreed by a broad range of stakeholders who are deeply expert in their subjects. Now, the challenges we face can seem insurmountable, but the science tells us we have no choice but to push ahead quickly, which is why I'm so proud of the role that BSI has played, leading the entire global standards community through the London Declaration. And that means that all 24,000 international standards will be assessed for climate compatibility in the next 5 years. The one action we recommend other businesses to take right now is to review their energy management. And ISO 50001 is a great place to start. We're living in a very dynamic time, and change is only accelerating. Standards have a really important place, actually, in times of change. People need guidance, and people need know-how. At BSI, we're really involved in the whole life cycle of standards, and we're all about helping organisations be the very best that they can be. Standards have to be relevant, and we have to help organisations with the problems on the fringes of the future. So standards are a piece of consensus best practice, agreed sort of measurements, metrics, ways of doing things effectively. And they can be applied all the way from technical products all the way through to systems and processes. But the critical thing is that they're generated in consensus. So it really is kind of a group best practice that's condensed into a standard. Standards are really important in a number of different ways. I mean, the first is that they guarantee that a product, for example, meets a particular specification. So if you think about it, the modern supply chain is completely underpinned by standards. They are vital in terms of innovation because it means that we can trust new technologies, we can trust new ways of doing things. And so when I think about some of the biggest problems that we have in our world today, particularly around sustainability, for example, or whether it's about digital trust, given the world is becoming so digital, actually in those areas, standards can be hugely important in terms of driving change. The early days of BSI were all around engineering standards, effectively. So very much around product and technical standards. The original focus for BSI was around standards with regards to steel sections. So a very technical kind of piece of engineering requirement. That was the turn of the 20th century. We actually became formally incorporated, and we have a royal charter that was granted in 1929. We became BSI, British Standards Institution, in 1931, so we've got a long history. In the 1970s, BSI actually started the first kind of quality management standard that then became an international standard. That standard is used by over 1 million organisations still today, and honestly that underpins global trade. So that quality management standard, the most highly kind of used standard in the world, was originated by BSI. If I fast forward to the 1990s, there were two really important standards that were developed then. The first one was around environmental management, and again, today that standard is still used and applied, obviously refreshed. And the other one that is incredibly important is around information security management. That came about in the mid-1990s. We have to engage with thought leaders in key spaces. We're obviously very engaged with government around the world. We're really trying to kind of keep ahead of the trends and what's happening from an innovation perspective. It's absolutely vital that those standards are relevant and We understand where innovation is trending and where it's going. How standards can help accelerate that innovation is key. I think there's a huge focus around sustainability in the standards shaping world. It's been an area where we've been very active for many years, but I think we have to redouble our efforts and ensure that the standards that we have are really kind of best placed to help organizations deal with the changes that they have to make. And that means not just changes in very specific net zero standards, for example, but also taking some of the fundamental standards like the quality management standard, like the information security standard, and ensure that they are also sustainable. So it's a huge area of focus for BSI. We've been engaged in the Faraday Battery Challenge, which is incredibly important for the UK government. We've been engaged in energy smart appliances, and that's both the specification, the requirements for appliances, but also the systems architecture that allows those appliances to work to make sure that the electricity grid doesn't get overloaded, for example. International cooperation and international standards are incredibly important because we are a single global community. That was really reinforced through COVID. And so I think the role of international standards and BSI's role as ISO in the UK is incredibly important in terms of dealing with some of the big changes and the big challenges that are coming our way.
Driving change in the way we address our economic, social and environmental challenges is high on our 21st century global agenda. BSI actively supports you to champion sustainability and boost organisational resilience by sharing knowledge, standards and best practice that can help inspire trust with your customers. We enable sustainability by ensuring businesses achieve continuous improvement. Starting with your most valuable asset, we help you to enhance the well-being of your people while reducing your environmental footprint and impacts via your supply chain. BSI has a groundbreaking portfolio of solutions to help you unlock the benefits of sustainability. We provide a global process and standard-setting framework to support organisations as they strive to meet the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We help organisations realise their potential and demonstrate leadership in a competitive market by developing organisational resilience through sustainability. Addressing your goal of achieving organisational resilience through enhanced sustainability, we've developed a flexible framework to match your needs. Our extensive enterprise-wide sustainability portfolio offers 3 key areas of focus: operational, information and supply chain resilience. We support organisations that were early adopters of sustainability to leverage their strategic advantage and market leadership to enable growth. We help organisations to improve their operational effectiveness, enhancing the value of their products and services. We assist organisations looking to increase their brand equity through reduced risk and increased compliance. BSI is your partner of choice, offering unique solutions to address your business needs. We support high-performing, resilient organisations to realise their sustainability potential. BSI has been an innovator in world-leading standards for over a century. Our global team of experts finds creative, scalable solutions to support clients across a wide range of sectors. Our strength comes from our knowledge-based tools, intelligence and best-in-class standards and solutions. Talk to us today. BSI, inspiring trust for a more resilient world.
Governments and businesses across the globe have set a clear objective to reach net zero emissions by 2050. Failing to do so could have catastrophic consequences for our planet and our future.
I think the science is pretty clear, and if we needed a wake-up call on how clear that science is, I think the last 18 months has shown us all how fragile the world economy is to a natural event. COP26 is very pivotal in bringing public sector and private sector together, and that's the difference on this COP versus the previous one. Putting tangible plans in place to make it become a reality, to work together to achieve those solutions. Public sector funding alone can't solve this problem. It requires private sector to match with the public sector activity to provide the funding necessary. For HSBC to become a net zero bank, we really have to help our clients transition their business models to a net zero position. We've quantified that that could involve somewhere between $750 billion and $1 trillion of incremental financing activity over the next 10 years for HSBC alone. We believe it's better to help our customers by helping their investment programs and funding their investment programs so that they become net zero, and then the banking sector is the summation of their activities. We're very fortunate that the scientists of the world have found us a roadmap out of COVID. We may not have a roadmap out of a climate event. I don't think we can put the world at risk for a climate event and not have a solution or try and solve that problem. And that's the way I look at it. If I then look at it as the CEO of the bank, I also look at it as a huge opportunity. And let me give you one perspective. We as an institution have been around for 156 years. We've seen the industrial landscape of the world change in that 156 years many, many times. I personally believe we're about to see the next industrial transformation take place, where industries are reinvented, technologies are created that solve the problem of climate. But to do that, we have to corral the industry and make it become a reality. We can't wait for somebody else to do it. We have to grab it and make it become a reality.
No matter what area of construction you work in, you have the power to make a real difference in the fight to protect our planet. Because buildings now contribute to 36% of global energy use and 39% of carbon emissions, and because construction is responsible for 30% of landfill, any positive actions we take will have a profound impact. At Kingspan, we passionately believe that our industry can and must transform the way we manufacture, design and build. And we want to play our part in making this happen. So we've been asking ourselves some big questions. Can we, as a group, make real changes across our worldwide footprint? Can we make our products with more clean energy and aim to drive carbon out of our operations and supply chain? Can we use more renewable and recycled materials in our manufacturing? Can we make our products in factories that use harvested rainwater and create zero waste and deliver them in recyclable packaging? Can we partner with others in our industry to develop new systems and protocols to enable reuse and recycling of materials at the end of a building's life? And can we, as a company, commit to proactively protecting our natural environment and wildlife? Our answer to these big questions is Planet Passionate, a 10-year collaborative initiative across our 130 manufacturing facilities with measurable targets and positive impacts. Realistic and achievable targets are now set for energy and carbon manufacturing, renewable energy generation including solar power, zero-emission company cars, carbon alignment with our primary supply chain, harvesting rainwater, removal of company waste from operations, recycling and upcycling, as well as ocean and wildlife cleanup and conservation projects. We've established our new ICON Innovation Centre to harness the latest advances in materials science and digital technologies to make this happen, while also delivering safer and healthier buildings that generate real value for our customers. And we are creating new partnerships as part of our sustainability journey to help achieve net zero buildings that are part of the circular economy. Please join us to share your ideas for sustainable building and to explore how we can work together to make them a reality. Kingspan Planet Passionate, playing our part to help make a difference.
Vietnam, this wonderful green country, a rural economy, become a global economy. Global commerce likes Vietnam. Increasingly, the world's goods are made here. Vietnam's green beauty can permeate our whole economy. Vietnam is uniquely able to avoid fossil fuels and leap straight to a green, global powerhouse. The companies of the world need energy to make their goods. The energy choices made here today are made on behalf of the whole planet, to make goods in a coal-fired factory or in a clean factory. Let us tell you a story. Let us meet the actors in this world play. A story we're writing today, here in Vietnam.
Hello, I'm David Giraudet, director at Mekong Furniture, Maison du Monde. We want our furniture manufacturing to have less impact on environment. So we work with Shirework to install 3 megawatt system on our rooftop in just 1 month.
Hello, I'm Edwin van der Sloot, MD of Skenkong Vietnam, a large garden furniture manufacturer from Denmark and a member of the United Nations Global Compact. This is our 55,000 square meter facility in Long Bieng Industrial Park in the Mekong Delta. We plan to cover all of it with solar as part of our RE100 pledge to power our factory with sustainable energy sources. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Minh Ngô, French citizen, and I have a PhD from Paris-Saclay University in France on solar technology. I returned to my home country to design solar rooftop for RE100 company.
Hello, I'm Phong, CEO of Wu Fong Energy Group. With over 12 years experience in renewable industry, I believe that together we can become 100% renewable and together we can protect our green environment.
Hello, my name's Wee, Head of Engineering. We work together to deliver good quality in design stage, construction stage, and in the operational stage.
はじめまして、私はテレデンソーベトナムの浜岡と言います。シェアオーク社とともに、RE100 参加企業の皆様に、これからも、日本の技術と日本の品質を持ってサポートさせていただきます。よろしくお願いいたします。
Goedemorgen iedereen, ik ben Virginie en ik kom uit België. Together with my 25 colleagues of the sales department, we're looking to bring you the best commercial offer possible.
Hello, my name is Yuta Tago. I am looking for renewable power investment opportunities for Daiwa Security Group's investment arm. I believe Vietnam has tremendous rooftop solar power potential, and I'm looking forward to see a chance to work with Shirework as a Japanese investor. Thank you very much.
All the wonderful people here. Yeah, so there's such talent in Vietnam. We've been so lucky in that I get a thrill, first of all, setting up a team anywhere in the world, but then setting up this team with the kind of youthful vigor and the kind of energy that this country has and the caliber of the people that we're employing. It's wonderful to work here.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Aurel. I'm in charge of asset management for our international clients. Last month we have produced the electric consumption of 100,000 Vietnamese while saving the equivalent of 20 hectares of forests.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Maxwell and I run Sustainable Development Capital, a manager of a London Stock Exchange listed investment company that invests in clean, efficient and decentralised energy solutions. We're delighted to be working with Shirework to deliver on-site solar and storage projects in Vietnam. Renewable energy and energy efficiency can help meet Vietnam's decarbonisation goals, as well as reducing the carbon footprint of companies manufacturing products in Vietnam.
In Vietnam, you have even better resources, solar power. You have a lot of wind power. This is the opportunity for Vietnam as you have a big demand for energy. So we are very keen to match up British expertise, especially at the moment when Vietnam is attracting a lot of investment into your industry and manufacturing. It's not just factories, it's schools, it's hospitals, can all benefit from rooftop solar.
Đối với SEV và Shirework thì nó làm giảm cái tiền điện mỗi một tháng của Boho là khoảng 15%. Thứ hai nữa có một cái lợi mà ít người nhắc tới đó là nó làm giảm cái độ nhiệt ở trong cái khu xưởng của mình khoảng cỡ từ 5 tới 7 độ. Thì nó rất là ok.
Today I'm so excited to be here in a solar rooftop project that we built last year. Since the last 3 months of 2020, we built 29 solar rooftop projects just like this one. And from here you can see the system quality is so brilliant and beautiful. thanks to the team support and contribution, we have a system with a very good design and good in construction management and well prepared in operation. This is the best job I have ever had in the world. Come here and enjoy what we have built so far.
Rooftop solar is state-of-the-art technology, but it's a quick solution, and this is not going to take Vietnam 10 years. It took the UK 10 years. It won't take Vietnam 10 years. It can take Vietnam 2 or 3 years to really accelerate.
The companies of the world hold the future of our planet in their hands. Here in Vietnam, the government has put the right policies in place. Together we, citizens of this planet, can effortlessly power past coal to deliver a clean, green future for our generation and all future generations to come.
Solutions to big problems require bold ambitions. Standard Chartered is committed to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Across our global footprint in Asia, Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas. Promoting sustainable finance, being a responsible company, building inclusive communities. This is what sustainability looks like at Standard Chartered. In 2020, sustainable deposits reached $1 billion US. Our community investment is $51.1 million and counting. And by 2030, we aim to achieve net zero emissions from our own operations and from our financing by 2050. Aspiring to become the world's most sustainable and responsible bank, Standard Chartered is here for good.
Where are the energy solutions of tomorrow a reality today? Which country is investing £2.5 billion into clean growth innovation and leading the world in offshore wind? We're the UK and we're ready to trade with you.